All right. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining this section. This is a continuation of the cybersecurity, TEFEM cybersecurity training. I'm going to be taking over from Mr. Michael to introduce us to threat intelligence. So please feel free to stop me and ask questions anytime you feel like during the course of this training. So over the next few weeks, the next remaining few weeks, we're going to be talking about threat intelligence and its importance in our cybersecurity journey. So threat intelligence, if it refers to the collection, analysis, and dissemination of information about current potential threats to an organization. So I'll go again. Threat intelligence refers to the collection, analysis, and dissemination of information about current and potential threats to an organization. We're going to see why it's important to try to analyze threats. We're going to also see why it's important to disseminate, why as organizations it's important for us to disseminate information about threats that that we've experienced in our company. But dissemination of this kind of information can become useful to other organizations to help. Dissemination of information about threats we experience or incidents we experience in one organization can become like very critical to help prevent such kind of threats from happening in other organizations. So threat intelligence refers to the collection, analysis, and dissemination of information about current and potential threats to an organization. There are generally three subdomains of threat intelligence. First one is threat analysis. Second one is threat investigation, and third is threat response. So threat analysis, as part of threat intelligence, it focuses on understanding, trying to understand and interpret raw data about potential and active threats. It also includes trying to understand the kind of motivation that a threat actor may have towards attacking your organization. We have various types of organizations. We have financial organizations, we have government organizations, we have educational organizations, and different types. So you as a SOC analyst, it's important that during the threat analysis phase, you try to understand the peculiar motivation the threat actor may have towards your organization. So what was motivating a threat actor to attack your organizations? It may be money, it may be to gain competitive advantage. Take for instance, if your company is a drug company that is researching on cancer treatments. So if you guys have information about your research, another company may be motivated, or another country even may be motivated to try to hack you and steal your design information. So those constitute threat actor motivations. So you as a SOC analyst, it's important for you to understand these motivations of threat actors to attack your company. It's also important, after figuring out the motivation, it's also important to try to understand the kind of tactics they may use to attack your company. It's important to try to understand the techniques they will use. So depending on the motivation, you like try to figure out or model the kind of tactics so during threat analysis, we try to think like an attacker. We try to be in the shoes of an attacker. So we think about their motivations, their tactics, their techniques, and their procedures. So the result of every threat analysis is a risk assessment. So after you've analyzed the threats that could potentially be facing your company, so what you're expected to come out with at the end of the day is a risk assessment. So you've seen that maybe your company is a drug company or is a financial institution. So maybe the motivations for a threat actor to attack a company is to steal user. If you're a financial organization, so the main motivation may be to steal user information to access their funds. That's for financial organizations. But if you're a drug company, the main motivation for any threat actor to attack a company may be to steal your own. That's to steal the design information on for whatever you're working on that's on your system. So you can see that these are like different type of attack surface. One is trying to attack users, and one is trying to attack a company. So you can see that when we've done this risk assessment, when we've done this threat analysis and the risk assessment we find out is like different, and possibly the prevention mechanism we're going to employ later during threat response is going to be different because of this different risk assessment. So another output of any threat analysis is to figure out the vulnerability of your organization's IT systems. So take, for instance, if you're employed to carry out a threat analysis on a company like a government agency, or if you're employed to carry out a threat analysis on a government agency. So one of the kind of vulnerabilities you can find out after your threat analysis is that maybe, for instance, that government agency is running an older version of Windows. We know that those older versions of Windows are like susceptible to some kind of vulnerabilities. And take, for instance, that WannaCry ransomware vulnerabilities. So older systems are they are prone to that vulnerability. So if you're employed to carry out a threat analysis on such government agency, after your threat analysis, you're going to report that, okay, I've discovered this vulnerability. So as an output to your threat analysis, you're going to report certain vulnerabilities discovered. Then you're going to prioritize defending against those vulnerabilities. So the next subdomain of threat intelligence is threat investigation. So this one usually occurs after a breach has happened or during an incident. So threat analysis usually occurs like before you're even attacked. So doing threat analysis, you're trying to understand how exposed your company is. But then during threat investigation, is either you're currently under attack or you've already been attacked. And so during threat investigation, you're trying to dig deeper into threats to try to understand the scope. That's the scope. That's how wide did the threat penetrate. You're trying to understand the root cause. How did this threat become successful? Then you're trying to understand the impact. How much damage has this threat caused to a company? So you're also trying to understand if this incident still poses a threat to you. So that's basically what happens during threat investigation. So it's good that as a SOC analyst, you like understand this process and you're able to carry it out. So often the kind of tools that is used during threat investigation is the same tools. That's the security information and event management system. So you also use forensic tools and so packet capturing solution like Wireshark. Yeah. So so that's about it for investigation. So the last subdomain of threat intelligence is threat response. So this occurs after you've figured out like how exposed your company was to an incident. So after you figured it out, so the next step you take now is to neutralize an attack. That's if the attack is ongoing, you try to neutralize it. But then if the attack has already been carried out, you try to like mitigate the impact of that attack. Then also some attacks don't just happen and go away. Some attacks are continuous. So after you've even been hacked, the attackers may have planted themselves into your system that they continue to be in your system and continue to watch you. So take for instance, if a robber attacks take for instance a hostel. So after they've stolen something, some robbers may leave the hostel, but then there are some kind of attacks that the robbers live within the hostel, that the robbers live among the hostel occupants. So if you don't try to figure out who those robbers are and eliminate them, that means in the future there's going to be future robbery. So that's why it's part of the process of threat response to either neutralize an attack. That's if an attack is currently ongoing. That using our analogy, if somebody is currently robbing, is either you catch them and retrieve back everything they've stolen, or in a case where they rob and they leave, is either you try to like mitigate the impacts of the robbery. So if take for instance a bank and a robbery is carried out, that they've taken customers' money. So the bank is going to try to return those money back to the customers or something like that. Then the bank is also going to try. Then using that hostel analogy. So take for instance, if a hostel is robbed, the security agencies in that hostel will try to find out who did the robbery and find out if they are still in the hostel. If they are still in the hostel, it's very important to remove them from that hostel. If not, future robberies are going to occur. So that's the same thing as stress response. We as SOC analysts, we like go through this process to like try to keep our company safe. So the tools that we use during this process is the SOR tool, so which stands for Security Orchestration, Automation, and Response. So, but for this week, we're going to be focusing majorly on threat analysis, and we're going to cover the following sub-models under threat analysis. First of all, we're going to try to understand incident analysis. We're going to try to identify common attack vectors. We're going to try to identify malicious activities. So what kind of activities are we going to see on the systems that will alert us that, okay, system is currently under attack? We're going to try to understand that. Then we're going to identify patterns of suspicious behavior. That's basically the same thing as, almost the same thing as the third one. Then we're going to learn log analysis. We're going to also learn about beaconing concepts. Then we're going to look at the global security landscape. So before I continue, I would like to know if there are any questions from you guys about what I already covered. Or should I ask questions to see if you're following? Yes, Veronica.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, please, it seems you are too fast. I don't know if you could slow down a bit for us. For me, like my end, I feel like you are going faster.
All right.
Thank you.
So is there another question or feedback? So I would like to pose this question. So can anyone, like, using a real world scenario, try to explain threat analysis, yeah, or try to explain the whole threat and intelligence like process. That's threat analysis, threat investigation, and threat response using a real world scenario. Can anyone attempt to explain? Or should I go over it again? So after I go over it, you guys, like, one person will try to explain it using a real world scenario. Yeah, Veronica.
Sir, please, I want to try. Like, it's like a
All right.
house, like a house. You have a house, then the house has something like a security, like it's like a security. So if a thief is attacking the house, the thief will first look for a place that is vulnerable that he or she can attack faster. And so without when the thief is around, it's like you have a security camera or something that will prompt the person inside that there's someone around. Then you can get to know that, oh, there's a thief outside the house or something that will prompt you. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yes, yes, yes. I think I love your analogy. So that's basically Veronica has helped us, like, throw light on um the threat intelligence process. So, but then I'll continue, and hopefully, actually, it's part of our assignments. We're going to like use a real world case study to try to explain this whole process. So, but for now, I'm going to continue from where I stopped. So, as I said earlier, we have three subdomains of threat intelligence. We have threat analysis, which involves trying to understand and interpret potential active threats that are posed to our organizations. Then also we're trying to understand a threat actor's motivations towards attacking motivations for attacking our organization. We're trying to also understand the kind of techniques a threat actor is going to employ to attack our organization. Like Veronica said, so if somebody is trying to rob us, they're going to try to find the most vulnerable part of our house to to attack us from. So like as SOC analysts, we're trying to understand, okay, where is the most vulnerable part of our house so we can better protect that place. So we're trying to understand the tactics of a threat actor. We're trying to understand the techniques a threat actor may employ to attack us. They were also trying to understand the procedures. So we are thinking like during the threat analysis phase, we are thinking like a threat actor. So after we've worn the shoes of this threat actor, we're not going to have a risk assessment. So a risk assessment is like the result of our threat analysis. It like points out every part of our system that are exposed to various types of risks. So also we're going to figure out the various type of vulnerabilities that is that our system is posed to. Using that robbery analogy, take for instance, if our okay, if our if you have a security camera that is a smart security camera that alerts us when an intrusion occurs. So if that security camera is faulty, that's a vulnerability because if threat actors figure out that our smart security camera is down, if it was a prevention, if it was a deterrence before, it's currently is no longer a deterrent. So threat actors are going to be motivated to like carry out attacks. So during the threat analysis phase, we try to understand all these things and we try to use our results to prevent it. So I also explained threat investigation, which basically occurs either during or after an incident has happened. So like Veronica used the robbery analogy. If somebody robs us and an attack and we have an alert system that goes off to either tell us that somebody is currently robbing us or they've robbed us. So during threat investigation process, we're going to try to understand the scope of the robbery. Okay, what scope mean? What is the robber trying to achieve? So some robbers just want to steal money. Some robbers want to kidnap. Some robbers even want to kill. So during a threat investigation, depending on the signals that are left by these threat actors, are going to determine the scope of the attack. So what are they trying to achieve? They are going to try to understand the root cause, where what part of our systems made this attack possible? Because we want to know the root cause so we can prevent future attacks from happening. So we are going to also try to understand impacts of an attack. That assuming an attack was successful. So the last one is threat response. So after figuring out all of this, we are going to try to neutralize an attack. That if an attack is currently ongoing, we're going to try to mitigate it, or we try to eliminate the attack. So we don't want a thief to be living among us, a robber to be living among us. So we're going to try to catch them and send them away, chase them far away from our system. So, but for today, we're going to be focusing not today for this week. Over next few weeks, we're going to be focusing on threat analysis. Remember, there are three subdomains of threat intelligence. We have threat analysis, we have threat investigation, and we have threat response. So over the next few weeks, we're going to be focusing on threat analysis. And we have 7 models we are going to cover during threat analysis. We're going to try to understand incident analysis. We're going to try to understand common attack vectors. So take for instance that robbery case study. We're going to try to understand robbery in general. We're going to look at the statistics. What can how do robbers operate? So stuff like that. So we're going to which weapons did they use? All those kind of stuff. So we're going to when we understand those kind of attack vectors, we're going to know how to make our system house secure from robbery. So that same thing happens in an IT organization. We're going to try to understand common attack vectors. So we are going to, when we know common attack vectors, we now proceed to protect our systems or IT organizations from those kind of attacks. Same thing for identifying malicious activity and identifying patterns of suspicious behavior. Then we're going to also understand log analysis, because log analysis helps us in very much in all these 4 models already listed. Then we're going to try to understand becoming concepts and the global security landscape. So, but for today, we're going to cover understanding incident analysis. So, incident analysis involves analyzing incidents using various models that helps us understand the methodology of an attacker. So, remember, understanding threat incident analysis is under threat analysis. And I said earlier that during threat analysis, we're trying to wear the shoes of an attacker. We are trying to think like an attacker. So incident analysis gives us models to understand the methodology of an attacker. Which series of process does an attacker take to before he carries out an attack? So generally, there are 3 models we are going to cover. These 3 models help us with threat analysis. I hope you remember what threat analysis is. You have the classic kill chain model, you have the diamond model, they have the MITRE attack framework. So the classic kill chain model, first of all, who can tell me what do you guys think a kill chain is? So kill chain basically applies to it not only applies to cybersecurity, it also applies to other areas of endeavors. It applies to the military. So hopefully, you can tell us what kill chain is or what they understand kill chain to be. No, I don't want Veronica to answer this one. Stephanie, can you try?
So I have no idea about it, please.
All right. Okay, Chisholm, can you help us?
Kill chains are strategies used to disrupt cybersecurity attacks, cyber attacks, malwares, any attack at all.
All right. Thank you very much. So, Chisholm has basically explained what a kill chain is. So that's like the simplest definition you can get. So a kill chain is the process by which a threat actor would build a plan or a strategy to effect a specific goal on a target. So it's basically the process a threat actor will use to build a plan or strategy to effect a specific goal on a target. Remember, the goals of threat actors are not usually what's the word? So the goals of a threat actor on on an organization are usually negative. So the kitchen is basically the process a threat actor use to build a plan to effect such goals on your organization. So this kill chain model is an intelligence-driven model. So intelligence-driven in the sense that we try to strategize around um, the kill chain of an attacker to help us identify threats and prevent intrusion. Remember, classic kill chain model is a model under threat analysis, and threat analysis is a process that helps us identify potential and active threats on an organization. So this kill chain model during this kill chain model, we try to understand the process by which a threat actor builds a plan or strategy to carry out to reach an end goal for himself. So there are 7 stages of a kill chain. There are 7 stages in this kill chain model. Remember, a kill chain, these are the processes a threat actor use to reach an end state or to carry out a goal on a target. So the target may be your organization, the target may be my organization, and the goal of a threat actor is usually negative on our organization. So the first, so now thinking in the shoes of an attacker, the first thing or the first phase of the kill chain, the first thing an attacker usually does when it starts planning to like attack our system is to carry out a reconnaissance. So using Veronica's analogy, if somebody is planning to rob us, usually they say that people that rob you are usually people that know you. So when somebody tries to rob us, they try to like carry out surveillance, they try to survey us, try to know the weak parts, they try to know where the valuable things are, they try to know the routes to those how they try to know a vulnerable part, then try to know where the variable stores are. They try to know how they will go from that vulnerable part or point of entry into our system to that variable stuff. So the first stage is reconnaissance. So during this stage, a threat actor tries to figure out the location of something valuable to them. So they try to also connect the two. They try to get from the vulnerable point of entry to the valuable point or the end goal for them. So, but then if we've already gone ahead of the attacker to like using this KCM model to like figure out these things ahead of time, we're going to be able to prevent such attack. I wanted to I want to also point reason for having an attacker like carries out an attack. We've deduced already that an attacker carries out an attack in 7 stages. So the reason for having this KCM model is for us to be able to, and at each stage of the attack, we as SOC analysts, we are able to like, what's the word? Able to, we're able to prevent a stage from being successful. We are able to make, our purpose is for understanding these 7 stages is to try to make each stage difficult. That every stage, if we say, for example, we're going to protect only, we're going to try to make it hard for the attacker to carry out surveillance. For instance, we're going to build high fences, and let's say we're a bank and we're securing a vote or something like that. We say we're going to only build high fences. So in a case where the attacker breaks that first, where they carry out a successful reconnaissance, that means they will easily carry out the rest of their kill chain. But then if we protect our system, since we understand an attacker kill chain, if we are able to like implement some form of security at every stage, we're going to be reducing the probability of a successful attack. We're going to make the probability like much lower, because compare 1 layer of security to 7 layers of security. So the reason for having a KCM model is for us to understand, then also implement security mitigations for those 7 stages. Because each stage has a kind of security mitigation that applies to it. Take for instance this reconnaissance. So if you make it hard for, remember I told you that the only people that can rob us are people that know us. So if you make it difficult for threat actors to gain information about our company, the structure of our company, the structure of our systems, if you make it private, take for instance Google, nobody knows how like outsiders don't know how the whole system is structured. So if you want to go and steal any information, we don't know where, even if you get in, for instance, we don't know where, because of the fact that we don't have every information about Google, we don't know where exactly to go to steal. But then during reconnaissance, a threat actor tries to get all this information. So there are various ways a threat actor can, there are various ways companies like expose too much information to threat actors. Take for instance social media. Most of us as IT operators, we have social media, and most of the time we post information about our company that may become useful to a threat actor to carry out an attack. That's why for most companies, you don't carry external devices into the company. You're not allowed to. Like when I worked at Coca-Cola, you're not allowed to take pictures in this point. You're not. So they try to make sure information, that internal information is not leaked out, because those information are very important for an attack to be successful. So as a SOC analyst, it's your function to try to reduce the surface area of information that is available externally. Yes, try to reduce the surface area. So you're trying to make sure that a threat actor like doesn't have enough information for him to carry out a successful attack. That's why most companies even use private email. They don't use cannot use your personal email for, because take for instance, if you're using a personal email, anybody can try to phish you using your email. If they know your email, they're able to phish you. If they know the email address of the IT operators, they're able to send phishing links, the rest of it too. But then if they don't know those email, they cannot carry out phishing attacks on the company. So that's why most companies use private email systems. So first of all, external companies are not able to email them. So those kind of security measures try to reduce the surface area of external information available to threat actors. So this is the first phase of the kill chain, reconnaissance. So it's important for us as SOC analysts to understand this process, so we are going to be able to mitigate it. So maybe when you go back to your company, you start to think about how much information about your company is exposed externally. So you try to reduce it. So this adds a layer of security, one layer of security for your company. So the next phase is weaponization. So after a threat actor has carried out reconnaissance, if you have identified some vulnerabilities, if he knows the location of a valuable item, if he knows the part between that vulnerability to that vulnerable item. So he's going to now plan, okay, take for instance, if he needs a ladder to, let's say a valuable item is stored on the second floor, and the door of that second floor is it doesn't have a lock. So after he has carried out the reconnaissance and gotten this information, he now knows I need to construct a ladder, because when I get into the compound, maybe through any vulnerable parts, I have to use my ladder to climb up to the second floor. So weaponization is when the attacker performs cyber weapon development based on the reconnaissance information he has gathered. Take for instance, using a real world scenario as case study. If I'm posed with so kind of on the company, maybe the first thing I'll try to do is to take out all this. Generally, the system is vulnerable to the ransomware. So using that information, if I found out that that company is still running Windows 7, I'll now try to develop my weapon, and my weapon is going to be that one ransomware. So luckily for most hackers, already. There's already like a trove of vulnerabilities out there, and there's also a trove of cyber weapons that are already developed. So using tools like Metasploit can carry out like this assessment, and we can also carry out Metasploit like provides for us a lot of exploits. It provides to us. Metasploit is a tool that helps us like attack a system, figure out the vulnerabilities, and also provides for us cyber weapons. So we don't need to even, as attackers, we don't even need to go through the process of writing the code ourselves, the code that is going to, based on a vulnerability, carry out an attack. So we already have tools like Metasploit. So it's basically easy for, it's even basically easier for attackers to attack us. So this kill chain phase 2 is, which is the weaponization. We have to be aware of it. As I said, Metasploit is an exploit attack tool. So attackers use it. So it's also important for us to be familiarized with this tool. Remember, I told you the importance of this kill chain model is to understand an attacker. Because when we understand an attacker, when we think in the shoes of an attacker, we are much better equipped to protect our systems from attacks. So the next phase of the kill chain model is delivery phase. So after you've used Metasploit to determine availability for a system, after you've chosen an exploit from Metasploit, so the next phase is how do you take how do you create a channel to transmit that payload to the system you want to attack. So there are various models for transmission of payloads. Take for instance, okay, if during the first stage you like figure out the email address of key players in the IT department, you can send them phishing links. Remember, if you have the email address, for example, of the sysadmin of a company, usually the sysadmins have the password of most systems. You can create a phishing links that is going to try to trick them into revealing those passwords. And basically, phishing links are like or phishing websites are like websites that mimic original main websites. Take for instance, First Bank. You're trying to hack someone that works in First Bank. So you're going to like clone First Bank websites. Take for instance the login page. So you're going to try to make them impute the password they would have used to log into the main Facebook. Sorry. They would have used to log into the main First Bank application. You're going to try to make them to impute it into that fake website, that clone website that you created. And when they impute it, that login information is going to be sent to a database that you control. So in that way, you now have an access to First Bank's portal. So remember, during the first stage, which is reconnaissance, you figured out the email address of this worker at First Bank. During the second stage, which is weaponization, you created this phishing website. Then during the third phase, you delivered that cyber weapon you created, which is phishing website to the target, which is the FedRAMP worker. So you transmitted it through email, maybe sent it to their email, and hopefully they clicked on it. So that's what this phase is about, the delivery phase. So if we are aware of, as SOC analysts, being aware of this helps us like prevent this kind of attacks. So if we're aware that maybe people are going to try to phish us, we're going to now is either we block external emails from messaging us, that's messaging our company's email. Is it that we block that, or is it that we inform our workers, because not everybody is like, they are not cybersecurity aware. Is that we create that awareness for our workers ahead of time. We carry out simulations to make them aware of such attacks. So we've now created a third layer of security. So you can see that we now have 3 layers. If a threat actor succeeds in the first phase, the likelihood of him succeeding in the second phase is like lower. But then if we only have 1 layer of security, when he breaches 1 layer of security, then our system is compromised. But using this KHM model, we're able to introduce like 7 layers of security. So it's not only about understanding what the KHM model is about. You also have to understand how to protect each layer on that KHM model. So the next phase is the exploitation phase. So this is the phase that where our malicious code is executed. So there are basically various common types of exploits. We have exploits against applications. Like I just explained now, take that FedRAMP application as a case study. So an exploit against that FedRAMP application could be a phishing attack where someone tries to create a clone of that website and try to send phishing link to FedRAMP workers. So that's the kind of exploit. It's an exploit against an application. So the next kind of exploit is an operating system exploit. Like I told you, some companies are running outdated operating systems, and those outdated operating systems have known vulnerabilities. And if your company does not carry out regular updates, that's why it's important. If you work in any company, you see that they are always updating every system. As the SOC analyst, you have to ensure that it's part of the IT operation to update your systems regularly, so they are safe from what we call zero-day exploits. So I'm trying to explain the common types of exploits there are. So we have exploits against applications, have exploits against operating systems. Then we have exploits against users. We always say users are the weakest link in our defense, because we can trick users into giving up vital information. Can even trick them into giving up their password. We can pose as these days we have AI that they call it deep fake AI that can mimic the voice of anybody. So you can train those AIs to maybe be CEO of certain company. If you're working in a company and a CEO calls you and asks you for your password, you're most likely to give them your password. So this is the kind of exploit against a user. So as a SOC analyst, you have to be aware that, okay, this kind of exploits exist. And they may try to use this against your users. And like I said earlier, most of the time users are not cybersecurity aware. So a measure for you to prevent this kind of exploit against your users is maybe either creating of awareness, or you may it's either that, or you may decide to change the password daily and only give them the password when they come to work. But then that you already see that can be like very straining on the IT operator. Or the next one would be to prevent external contact. So you can run a private network. Most companies run private networks. So nobody from outside can contact somebody from on the inside. So that way you limit the point of contact, you limit surface area for attackers. So as I said, the exploitation phase is when the malicious code is carried out. And we have three common targeted exploits, which is the application exploits, the operating system exploits, and the user exploits. The user exploits is usually the weakest link in all of this. So if we're able to, since we now understand this phase of the kill chain for a threat actor, we're now able to create another layer of security for this phase. So remember, the kill chain is like the process by which an attacker carries out is the process of strategy by which an attacker tries to carry out a goal. So it's usually is modeled at 7 stages. So if we're able to stop an attacker at a phase, we may be able to stop the whole attack. So it's usually better to stop the attack at an earlier phase. It's usually better to stop an attack at the earlier phase. Take for instance, we're already in kill chain phase 4, which is exploitation. So if we do not stop the attack at this stage, in the next phase, which is installation, the attack may have already been successful to an extent. So it's like very important to stop the attack on an earlier phase. So the kill chain phase 5 is installation phase. So in this stage of the attack, the attacker tries to establish like a backdoor. So what a backdoor is okay, if somebody is robbing your house, he's trying to make sure that he's able to like send out whatever he has stolen. Because if a robber is robbing you and he's not able to leave, I'm not sure any robber wants to rob somebody and stay in their house with them. So a robber should be able to like leave. So also an attacker attacking any organization, he wants to steal or perform some well, not every attacker. Some attackers like just want to destroy your organizations and destroy themselves. But then some other attackers want to like steal. So for those that want to steal, they want to be able to send whatever information they've stolen back to themselves or back to some other server. So in this process of the kill chain, the attacker tries to create a sustained and persistent presence on that system. So what sustained and persistent presence and access to the system means is that, during attacks, we may have systems in place that like raise alarms. We had take for instance, in your house, you may have motion detector. So if an attacker breaks a door, an alarm is going to ring. Maybe you're going to send notice to police. That's in developed countries, for instance. You get even here in Africa too. Those alarms are going to like send alerts to you, to the police. So what a threat actor tries to do is they try to make sure that when they break in, that they break in undetected. Because in a case where they trigger an alert, SOC analysts are going to like go in and try to investigate. That's where threat investigation comes in. They're going to try to investigate it and respond to it. That's nullify. But then if an attacker's goal or motive is to try to enter into a system undetected, they try to sustain connection to that system, and they try to have persistent access to the system. So I hope you get the idea of this phase. So an attacker is thinking of how to get into the system undetected. They are trying to also think of the ways to sustain connection. So if we can come up with these strategies, we can be able to mitigate it. So kill chain phase C is a continuation of the installation phase. Like I said earlier, every attacker would try to like send out the information he got back to the server, or in most cases, if when they get into your system, your system is a network. Maybe the current system the attacker is not the intended is not the like main target. Maybe just a pathway to the main target. So in this phase, your attacker tries to like carry out more reconnaissance to try to figure out a way to the main systems. I'm sure Michael covered when he was like talking about network, protected securing network. I'm sure he covered the difference between public network and private network. So we have for an IT organization, we can have like public facing systems and private facing system. So usually the variable part of an organization is kept in the private part of the organization. So it's usually through external users usually access those private information from the public facing servers. So when an attacker compromises a public facing server, so when he has installed himself on that public facing server, he now tries to figure out how to go from that public facing server into that private system that holds the valuable information. So this basically what happens in kill chain phase 6, which is the command and control phase. So the last phase is kill chain phase 5, action on targets. So this is where the attacker, if all those security layers we've been creating through the path of this attack. If it does not stop the attacker and he gets to the phase 7, which is action on the target, we are hoping it may already be like late to even stop the attack. So at this stage, the attacker like achieves his desired goals. He still, if it, he wants to steal a company's private research, he's able to steal it. If he wants to steal corporate data, he's able to steal it at this stage. So if he wants to disrupt the company's services, he's able to do it at this stage. So I hope you guys have like gotten an idea of I hope you guys have gotten that. So my hope is that you guys have gotten an idea of that you guys understand incident analysis. So if there are any questions from your end, this is time to ask questions. Yes, definitely.
Okay. My question is, you said that the kill chain stages are used by attack. So I want to actually know at what stage do we see that a SOX analyst should be aware that this particular activity is ongoing? Because if I were to stay in stage 1, recognition, where you are gathering information, a threat actor is very, very, they are very, very skilled to avoid not to get noticed where you are gathering information from an attacker, rather from an attacker from that you want to exploit. So is it possible? My question is it possible for a stocks analyst to know that okay, this and so person asking for information about a particular company, and how, if it's possible, and how?
Yes, it's possible to. It's actually possible at every stage to like. It's actually possible at every stage. It's actually possible at every stage to know that someone is trying to attack your systems, and like what we used to like figure out if someone is trying to attack our system is this stuff called SIM. That's security event and information management system. Yeah, so what SIM does is to analyze all the logs. Remember, our system, every system have a log. So if remember during the reconnaissance stage, I may be using I may be using, I've forgotten the name of that tool, but then what that tool does is to try to find out active ports on a system. So that's the kind of malicious activity. So if somebody is trying to like ping all the ports on your system, so they're asking question which port is open, which, so that's the kind of reconnaissance activity, and it's also a kind of malicious activity because just in a few seconds from only a single IP address, somebody is trying to like figure out all the ports open on your system. So a SIM may be able to detect that, okay, this is a malicious activity. A human may not be, because there may be like thousands logs to read, but then that SIM is like AI powered, so they're able to skim through all the logs and figure out which pattern is not like, is not a human behavior, something like that. Another way to figure out, so there are different types of attacks. We have some attacks where somebody tries to plug in a USB, and that USB may be powered to act as a keyboard, a programmed keyboard. So what it does, remember, if you plug a keyboard into any system, you're able to type out commands, right? But then some people use smart USBs. They program those USBs to act as keyboards. So when they plug those keyboards into your system, that when they plug that flash into your system, that smart flash is programmed to act as a keyboard. So that depending on the program, it's going to try to either copy all the files on your on your system. So a SIM is able to detect if a USB is running a keyboard program, the rate at which it's typing may be faster than the rate at which a normal human being types. You get, so if a SIM figures out that, okay, this pattern is not associated with a human, that SIM is either going to raise an alert that a SOC analyst is going to respond to, or is going to block that USB access. Also, usually, okay, that I forgot to, during that delivery phase, I forgot to point out that USB is a type of delivery mechanism. So most companies actually block USB ports on their systems. So like you asked, how do we detect? So how we detect is using SIM. You can also detect by analyzing logs, but then it's better for these SIMs, which are AI powered, to when we program the SIMs to help us get those events. I hope it answers the question.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right. Do you have another question?
So, please, I'd like to know if you'll be dropping the slides this night.
Yes, I'm going to drop the slide immediately after this class. So let me also point out that we have an assignment. It's going to be ungraded. It's basically to research and document on the following. So we're going to try to apply this creation model to like develop a case study of a real world scenario. So we're also going to try to understand the diamond model. Remember, I told you that during threat analysis, we have three models. We have classic QHM model, which I just covered. Then we also have the diamonds and the MITRE attack framework. So these are also models that you need to understand. You're going to go and research on it and try to understand it on your own. I've already introduced the first model. So, but then after the class, I'm going to send these slides to the group. So in the absence of further questions, I'm going to end the class now. Thank you all for joining, and hope to see you on the next class.